You are listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, and now live on Zoom.us, as they say, but we are now on YouTube as well. Welcome, everybody, to the only wrestling talk show on WHPC. Not the only wrestling talk show, because there's a bunch of them on YouTube, but, you know, we have the mantra here on WHPC. Welcome to Takedown Breakdown from our living rooms. I am your host, Josh Silverberg, and with me, my hosts, as always, we'll start with Lyle Gillen himself. What's going on, man?
What's up? It's Takedown Breakdown, social distancing style.
That's what it feels like at this point. And Justin Caracciolo, who's live at Monday Night Raw. Just kidding, he's not allowed in the building. What's up, man?
What's the story? Yeah, I got a live recap here. We got a full capacity crowd in the Barclays
That set
Center.
looks bigger than the set that they have on the show, or it could be wrong. I don't know. It looks a little different, but
yeah, this isn't the Performance Center.
No, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was at all. So again, you're listening to us here on WHBC, and I know it's been a few weeks. We've been trying to figure out different ways of doing this. And it's been kind of a rocky situation. Of course, we send all of our best and as well as our condolences to all those that have been affected by the COVID-19 coronavirus that has really just become a pandemic forget the country, and the entire world. And again, we do send our condolences out there. I know we probably do have listeners and those that have had their family members and friends that have been affected by this. And we're just hoping to bring a smile to your face for the next hour. And hopefully you'll be able to enjoy our program. And we're going to continue to do this until we're back in the studio. So you can check us out on WHPC Monday nights, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. This episode, will be there. And we're going to be on YouTube as well. So it's cool. We're opening our horizons, as they say. I don't have to touch all these buttons like I did on Facebook Live because it was getting so complicated for me. Every time I pushed a button, it would shut me down. I didn't understand what it was, but I digress. So this is, what's funny is our program director, Sean, Sean Ovett said to me, he goes, Josh, is there really anything going on in wrestling? Yes, there is. As crazy as that is, there's a lot going on in wrestling. And it starts this Saturday because it's too big for one night. It's too big. WrestleMania is going to be this Saturday and Sunday night, and the exact time of the show is going to be 3 hours and 15 minutes. They've released that. It's not going to go over that. So, Justin, I think you'll be able to handle it this year. You've had some complaints in the past about it being too long. So, and again, I did say back. Remember about a few months ago, I said, "What do you think of the idea of WrestleMania going for 2 nights?" I remember that, and they actually now are under the unfortunate circumstance.
Who would have thought?
But
because of Wrestle Kingdom, we saw that earlier this year, and Wrestle Kingdom was an event that kind of felt like it needed to be 2 nights because there was so many big matches one after another, and of course that double main event they had planned. It ended up being way longer than Mania is going to be this year, though. So I don't.
6 hours and 30 minutes total is what they're saying, and everything like that. So
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of them doing it because.
Well, I was going to get to now is what's your guys' thoughts, and Lyle, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on? The 2 nights. Stealing my thunder, but that's okay.
Well, I thought he already talked about it, so I was trying to get in. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. New Japan did it with the idea of having a storyline, and it built into the second night. And if you remember back with New Japan, we kind of had no idea what the second night was going to bring. And it was essentially everything from night 1 was going to end up turning into something for night 2. And it made for a very intriguing night 2 that was fun to watch and very, very good entertaining. Now, WrestleMania for this is literally just, okay, we can't have all these people in the building. Let's just put it into 2 nights, which is stupid. Like, if you're going to be having this giant 2 nights and you want to do it right, why are you not having all these amazing matches from NXT that are supposed to be on? Now, instead, you're going to have them on USA Network in front of no crowd still, and it's going to be with commercials?
I think regardless, it was going to be with no crowd in the Performance Center, because of this whole situation that's been going on. So regardless, TakeOver was going to take place in the same place in front of the same amount of people. I don't really have a problem with it being on USA, because I feel like that reaches a more broader platform. Not all the casual fans who watch WrestleMania are going to be ones that watch NXT, but if they see a takeover quality card, that's going to bring more eyes to the product overall.
And they're splitting it week to week, Dave. That's what Triple H has said he's going to do.
I
1
think
week
that's
he's going to
smart.
do it, and then the next week, because it's too big to fill in 2 hours, that he's going to split it up week to week. And
I think
I'm kind of curious to see how the viewership is going to be with that announcement for these next 2 weeks between them and AEW, because now you're bringing takeover quality matches for the next 2 or 3 weeks into your, on USA. And I'm kind of curious, does NXT finally, break the wall of beating them in the ratings possibly for a week or two? And yes, it's going to be at the extent of a takeover card. You know what I mean? That's what it takes, but could it still happen?
I think that NXT has been struggling lately regardless with their – it feels like their shows have just kind of been like –
they're dry.
have no direction in
there
a
is
way.
none.
Yeah, it's
and I think they're in a tough spot because they got no crowd
tasting.
reaction or anything, and they need that. They need
that
it's
crowd
tough. Reaction.
Wrestling needs that. It's not just NXT.
Yeah, no,
Wrestling
of course.
needs that interaction with the crowd, because you saw with the debut of Brody Lee and Matt Hardy in AEW how much a crowd could affect a moment like that.
Oh, the roof would have been blown off at their. You had Matt Hardy and Brody Lee
in
debut,
Rochester.
and if you would have had it, I mean, that would have been it right there. And it's unfortunate that, and those guys are going to get their calling when the crowds come back. We don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, I know we were talking before the show. I mean, I know Lyle was talking about Double or Nothing in May. We don't even know if that's even going to happen at this point. We have no idea when anything is going to happen. We don't. I mean, they're saying that, and I don't want to, I mean, from everything you're reading, from Anthony Fauci, who is, of course, the doctor in charge, he says there's a curve. It goes down in June, and it could come back up in September when the colder weather tries to bring itself back in. So we don't know if we're out of the woods yet. But, I mean, we don't know if Double or Nothing is happening. We don't even know if anything is going to happen. Who knows in the summertime? Who knows? Because we don't know if this virus can be killed during the summertime. I mean, people are getting it in Australia and stuff, and it's warm down there now, and we don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, could that kill, Wrestling Dynasty? Could that kill TakeOver Boston and SummerSlam weekend? We don't know when it's. We don't. Fauci said it. We don't control it. The virus is the one that's in control. We don't tell it what to do. It's going to do what it wants to do. So, I mean, we're not sure when we're going to get live crowds and everything back, but they'll get their due, Brody Lee and Matt Hardy. And when Brian Cage shows up and the Revival shows up and Lance Archer is there, they'll all get their due, and it's deservingly so. And AEW did great with their coup of getting these guys. And I know Lyle's excited about it because, with these guys coming in, I think it just expands the roster even more for AEW.
Okay, so I'm going to go back into the NXT TakeOver part when we were talking about before.
Okay.
But I think it's absolutely terrible because they had the chance of having probably the pay-per-view of the year. And by them putting it into shows where now you have people, 500 to 700,000 has been NXT The Range on TV. And now you're going to be having it in front of those many people when you have, they never really announced numbers for pay-per-views on the network. So I don't know how many people watch the takeovers, but I'm going to say it's way more than that because people who watch AEW, they watch NXT too. So you're going to be having probably 1.5 million people watching it on the network that already have the network when you could be having it on TV with commercials. It's going to diminish the matches and it's going to diminish a lot because it's just not what it could have been. And it's a shame, but it could have been the match of the year, the pay-per-view of the year. I just think that it would have been better. Take these matches, spread them on Mania, and take away a couple matches that aren't really going to – who cares? You could put Otis versus Ziggler on SmackDown. You could put Lashley versus Aleister Black on Raw. And then put in the matches that people wanted to see on NXT, put them on Mania. That would have made Mania way better and given these guys at NXT a much bigger platform because you have so many more people watching. That's a way better way to do it than having guys have matches on NXT split up with commercial breaks.
Justin, any
Yep.
thoughts?
Just on the topic of Mania really quick, because you were prying for our thoughts on this year's Mania being in front of an empty arena. I'm just thinking in maybe 15 years' time, I'm going to be like, what happened at WrestleMania 36? I'm going to pull it up on the network, and I'm going to be like, oh, this is the one that had no crowd. I feel like it's just going to be such a surreal like experience to watch a WrestleMania in front of 0 people, because that's something that's never happened before. No kind of situation has ever impacted any wrestling event to this degree before, and it's really just it's just gonna be crazy in hindsight, after this situation has blown over, looking back being like, wow, WrestleMania was almost canceled, and instead they did it in front of nobody in a small building in Florida.
So we have about 9 more minutes left
Mhm.
of the first half, and then we'll get to the second half, of course. But I agree with Lyle 100%. I think it can diminish the the feeling of it, because you were probably going to get Walter versus Finn Balor. You were probably going to get Pete Dunne.
I think that's on the UK Takeover show.
Well, it is
if I
now
had to
because
guess.
nobody can get
Yeah.
back because they're both in the UK right now, so they can't get back.
Yep, they're
The
overseas.
report, I think the report was that they were leaning towards doing this at Mania, and then they were going to just have the
Mhm.
rematch at Ireland. But because
Yeah,
now
because if you remember,
they're
Walter
both
beat
stuck
Pete
there
Dunne
now.
last year in
Yeah,
New York.
Pete Dunne's stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And now Pete Dunne is stuck there too. So Matt Riddle is
I don't
now
know if you
having to
guys. I
defend
don't know
these
if you guys
titles himself.
saw the Progress show that was supposed to happen last week got canceled, of course, because of the whole situation going on, and that had some of the WWE talent on it. But instead, they had like a virtual meetup for it. So it was kind of like a Zoom chat with a bunch of people in it. So it's interesting
That's
to see
kinda
the
cool.
spin that some companies are taking on the whole situation. They just join in like a chat room and discuss like what's going on with wrestling and everything. I think that's pretty interesting.
Well, that show, what is it? I think it was the last episode we had before the show, before the station was shut down. They still,
Right.
I forget who was that weekend show. They still want to, I think they still did, they went with their show, I believe. They still
Oh,
did
okay.
it. They still did it. They produced
Did you end up
everything.
going, Lyle?
No, I don't believe I did.
Do
No,
you
I
not
did not.
remember?
I don't
He's
remember
like,
anything. I don't remember anything more than a week ago anymore. I'm like shocked.
And also, I just want to make this quick, really quick. We are going to have a big announcement coming up in a little bit. I know, Lyle, I don't know if you want to share that in a little bit. Do you want to share that the second half?
No, first half. Definitely the first half.
You want to share it the first
You
half?
want me to do it now?
Yeah, let's share it right now
Okay.
because we got about 7 more minutes before Zoom shuts us down,
Okay.
and then we got to do our meeting again.
Okay. So the big announcement, big takedown breakdown news. We are now going to be having episodes live, or not live, but on YouTube. It's going to be a half-hour shows. And I know what you're thinking. Our shows are normally an hour. Well, our first half hour is going to be on YouTube. We're going to put it on there for you, and that will be free. And then we will be having our second half on Patreon. You go on there, we have some great content for you, interviews with wrestlers. Our second half of our show, articles about wrestling shows and about wrestling today. So go check that out when we start updating stuff and start putting stuff up there. It's going to be a lot of content you're going to want to watch and stay up to date with Takedown Breakdown.
And it starts with this episode, correct, Lyle? It starts with this episode
Yes,
being the first
this
one?
episode. Our YouTube is Takedown Breakdown Radio. Go give us a subscribe to us. It's a black logo and it has DX kind of like lettering with a radio microphone in the middle. So go click subscribe. So then when we do upload a video, because these videos for YouTube are probably going to be updated and uploaded before the radio show. So you're going to be able to watch it and hear it earlier. So you don't have to stay up until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, or 11:30 to midnight and listen to the show. Listen to it much earlier, and then go.
And those are going to be that link and stuff is going to be posted on Twitter and Facebook and everything like that for all those that are following it as well.
Facebook,
and you're going to definitely want to tune in for the second half because we're going to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring, about the Chris
also
Benoit episode.
we're going to be talking about the brand new TNT Championship.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That was just announced a
Confirmed
little bit
today.
ago, about an hour or so
Yep.
ago. I think it was announced by AEW. Then
7 o'clock, I think.
There's an 8-man
Tony
tournament.
Khan confirmed it. There's going to be a tournament, so we're going to talk the AEW TNT title. We're going to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, the Chris Benoit episode, and we're going to preview what we think about the New Jack episode is going to be about. It's going to be sick and gross and disgusting. I showed my wife the mass transit incident, and she said, "Why would anybody let that happen?" I digress. We'll get into that the second half because she's not a wrestling fan, and the fact that she saw somebody have that happen to him, you would think as a casual watcher of wrestling, you would go, why would somebody let somebody cut them like that? But we'll talk about that the second half and everything like that.
You're not wrong.
It's just the whole thing. I mean, like I said, as a casual watcher, and you see that, but again, we'll discuss it. I know, Lyle, I think you know about the mass transit incident at this point. Justin, I know you do because before the show ended in the station, you and I were discussing it for God knows how long.
I'm aware of it.
It's one of the most controversial topics in professional wrestling history that almost got ECW shut down. So, so we got about 4 more minutes left, and then we're going to go to a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start the second half. But, you know, it's interesting. I was just watching Monday Night Raw as well, and they replaced Andrade, I believe, in the tag team match for the tag team belts with Austin Theory.
Yes.
So Austin Theory
and
is
Angel
now
Garza.
technically in a WrestleMania. How crazy is
I'm
that?
very happy for him.
Already.
He's in a WrestleMania for Adam Cole,
ago.
baby.
I was at his match against Josh Briggs at Evolve, and he's extremely good.
And he's young.
He's
he
very,
is.
very, very talented.
Yes,
I think he's one of the best talented wrestlers in NXT, and he's going to be.
And he's so young. He's so
only, I think,
young.
20,
So
21, I
gifted.
think
It's
he is. Right?
insane.
He's only 20,
He
I think.
reminds. He reminds me of a young Randy Orton in a lot of aspects because they're around the same age, and I could see the same trajectory for both of them. Yeah,
it's perfect. And I think he's young, he's hungry. His match with Tommaso Ciampa a few weeks ago was great. It was awesome.
Yes. He's a little bit more original than Randy Orton, though. I would say his moveset's much more diverse. He's I wouldn't say he's more athletic, but he has more versatility inside the ring. And I think this is a good opportunity for him. The team doesn't really make sense. I don't know why he's teaming with Garza, but it'll be an interesting match to see. Yeah, exactly.
I want to throw this at Lyle because I think Lyle would find this hysterical because Lyle knows my dad is he's a casual wrestling watcher. Yeah. He doesn't watch it normally. So he's so bored right now. And I was saying to him the other day, I saw him today. I said, "Oh, don't forget." I said, "WrestleMania's on Saturday. You believe they're doing it 2 nights?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I want to watch that. Can I get in on that? I want to watch it. I got nothing else to do."
He goes, "Can I get in on that?"
And I said, he's been watching it, AEW and NXT. He likes both a lot. So. He's gonna watch WrestleMania too, so that'll be interesting.
Cool.
I expect him to completely insult it because he insults no matter what it is. AEW, NXT, WWE, New Japan. He jokes about it like crazy. It's the funniest thing.
Becky Lynch came out today, and she's going to the corner of the stage, looking up like she's looking at fans, and I'm sitting there like.
I feel like that's a rib.
Funny. The Austin thing was a little funny. The Austin thing was a little funny.
Oh, with Byron? Or
no. Can I get a hell again? It kept showing the crowd. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
But I think WWE kind of learned the way of AEW doing it, where you pan the camera from the announcer side, and you're not showing the empty crowd. So they learned their lesson from that a little bit.
WWE though likes to burn things into the ground. Like they like to run it to death. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is all one big rib and the stars are supposed to go out there and pretend like there's a crowd out there. Just, I don't know, to get a kick out of themselves.
I love that Zoom, by the way, is doing it every 2 seconds now. They're not doing it by 1 second. It's hysterical. So we got about a minute left before we go to a commercial. I'm going to get you listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. This is Takedown Breakdown along with Lyle Gillen, Justin Caracciolo. I'm Josh Silverberg. We're doing a social distancing version of Takedown Breakdown. And, of course, Lyle will go through the announcement again when we start the second half. And the second half, you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be all about – I really hope Zoom has a timer, by the way, and it doesn't just say less than 1 minute because then our meeting's going to get shut down. So I think at this point, guys, we'll end the first half on that because I don't want us to get shut down mid-thought. So – when we come back, Lyle's going to go into the announcement again. We'll talk about Dark Side of the Ring, and we'll get to AEW. You're listening to 90.3 WHBC, the voice of Nassau Community College. This is Takedown Breakdown. We'll be right back.